Here's everything I know regarding oil viscosity in the VR30, and I'm pretty much going to be using the owner's manual as well to kind of help you guys kind of understand what's exactly going on in the owner's manual. Because as you guys may notice, some of you guys have a year, I believe it's 2018 and up, they removed 5W30 from the owner's manual, but they put it in a different section and they reworded it. So you guys kind of have to understand this. I'm going to explain. So I have a 2017 and the owner's manual states that you could either use 0W20 or you could use 5W30. Here's the owner's manual from a 2018, and as you can tell, it looks very different from the owner's manual from a 2017. Alright, so in the highlighted box, it pretty much states to only use 0W20, and you don't have to only use the Nissan 0W20. You can go for different manufacturing 0W20 like Penzo, Mobile One, blah, 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 blah. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting. For additional information regarding engine oil and filter recommendation, go to this page in the booklet, P10-8. Right? We're going to go over to that page now. So we're going to read this top paragraph, and then we're going to discuss what it means after that. The engine oil viscosity or thickness changes with temperature. Because of this, it is important that the engine oil viscosity be selected based on the temperatures at which the vehicle be operated before the next oil change. Choosing an oil viscosity other than that was recommended could cause serious engine damage. So the manufacturer is pretty much telling you indirectly that you could pretty much run 5W30, but you have to follow what the guidelines is based on the ambient temperatures and the engine temperature. It is important to note that the ambient temperature is not the forecast temperature. The ambient temperature is the air that is surrounding your car. Things that could affect that would be like if you're parked underneath a tree, if you're parked in the garage, etc. Now, when it comes to oil viscosity, tuners will commonly tell you what oil viscosity is better to run in your car because they're looking at different engine bay parameters, and they're not only looking at coolant as a proxy for like operation temperatures. They're looking at engine oil temperatures. They're looking at your exhaust gas temperatures, temperatures. They're looking at a bunch of different parameters and even intake air temperatures to determine what's the best oil viscosity for your car. Now, here's what I think theoretically. I think honestly they removed it for EPA reasons. They obviously get less fines for having you run 0W20 for a longer time, but also they know some customers might be in a really cold climate, like up north in Canada or something, and might be deciding that they want to run 5W30 for whatever reason. And in those colder climates, 5W30 doesn't flow as well as 0W20. So I think they just put 0W20 as like a basic like guideline. So because they're expecting people not to like be on the car. They're expecting people to just drive regularly. And that's not what's actually going on. They're expecting people to drive like a grandma. But you know how people are. They like to do pulls and everything. So it's better if you just run 5W30 depending on where you live. 0W20 if you're up north in Canada or something. Here's the final source of information I collected. I asked the mechanic to review the first-gen valve cover in comparison to the second-gen valve cover. And they stated this: VR30 Badman, the first-gen valve cover 2016 to 2022 issue I found with this design was that the little breathers inside gets clogged. You will experience higher crankcase pressures, and those ports are so small, one droplet of oil can simply stop its breather's ability. Now, the next reason I think this car gets recommended 0W20 is that I've seen many things in the VR30 why 0W20 and 5W20 is actually a healthier option for our cars. Turbo feed port basically can't handle thicker oils, unless you're going to run like a block warmer all the time before you start the car up. Now, running the 0, I understand, because that's mainly for cold start operation, but the numbers after that is mainly for like a normal engine operation. I honestly recommend 30, but the 0, I kind of understand where that's coming from. Even with all that information, me personally, my opinion, off of what I did critically thinking, I still recommend using 5W30, and I kind of understand what they're saying by using the block warmer to start the car off, because the first number indicates like the cold starts in a winter pretty much. But the second number, like the 30 and the 20, definitely run 30. If you're not tuned, run 30, because that's basically the oil that's flowing in your engine when you're doing like a normal operation. When you're doing pulls and everything, you want to run a thicker viscosity oil, like 30, to make sure you're lubricating the different parts of the engine. But if you're tuned or something and your tuner recommends, go to 40 if your tuner recommends. But personally, as a daily driver, as someone that, you know, likes to go do a little fun run, and your stock, you could run 5W30 no problem, and it can actually help lubricate parts of your engine better than 0W20. Now, when your car gets hot, right, like really hot, your engine gets really hot and the oil gets really hot, the oil of the 5W30 gets really thin, right? So, as it gets thin, what does it become like? It becomes similar to 0W20. It's not going to be exactly like 0W20, but when it gets thin and hot, it's going to be similar to 0W20 in effectiveness. Now, when you think about 0W20, when it gets really hot, it's thinning out a lot. It's never going to be as effective in protecting your engine and lubricating these different components as 5W30. It's going to thin out to the point where it's almost water. And when oil gets too thin and metal meets metal, things can go wrong. And I learned my lesson the hard way with my G37. And when it comes to oil change intervals, I don't care what anybody says. As this car is direct injection, you need to make this car like a VG30 or VR38 that's in a GTR, bro. Look at this in the owner's manual of a GTR. They want you to inspect your GTR oil at like every 1,800 miles. So should you be doing that to your VR30 as well? Yes, you should. There's nothing that can go wrong if you inspect your oil, but you should definitely change your oil every 3,000 miles. I do 3,000. Some people do 5,000. I'm not doing that because nothing can go wrong if you change your oil in a shorter interval. But a lot of things can go wrong if you change your oil in a longer interval. But yeah, I hope that cleared up a lot of the questions regarding the 5W30 and the 0W20 debate for the VR30, because that was pretty simple. I went really deep into it. But if you have any more questions or you have any concerns or anything that you'd like to add to this topic, please comment down below, because I would love to hear what your opinion on this as well.